It's good to have you again on African Free Press Television for the news at dusk. My name is Leo Oketa and these are the stories we're tracking for you at this moment. The federal government has told the Code of Conduct Tribunal sitting in Abuja that it is ready to open its case against the Senate President Dr. Bukola Saraki. Saraki, through his lawyer Mr. Mahmood Magaji, urged the tribunal to adjourn the trial and await the decision of the appeal he has lodged before the Supreme Court. Magaji told the tribunal that his client also filed an application for the stay of further proceeding on the matter pending the determination of the appeal at the Apex Court. Meanwhile, the Code of Conduct Tribunal has also adjourned until November the 19th the trial of Senate President Bukola Saraki and charges leveled against him by the Code of Conduct Bureau. However, all lawyers representing the Senate President in the case have withdrawn from the case. The withdrawal follows the ruling of the tribunal to continue trial, a decision which the lawyers described as judicial rascality. The tribunal had based its ruling on the strength of Section 305 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, which says that the trial can be concluded and ruling reserved until all questions about the trial are answered. Dr. Saraki had asked for a month to reconstitute his defense, which the tribunal ruled that it will give the Senate President 1 week to reconstitute his legal team. Meanwhile, major oil marketers are blaming the current fuel scarcity on depot owners who now sell to the marketers at 91 naira instead of the control price of 76 naira 50 kobo to enable them to sell to motorists at 87 naira. The Department of Petroleum Resources Controller for Nasarawa and Benue States, Mr. Benjamin Ewuga, told newsmen that investigations and information gathered from the marketers so far implicates some depot owners. According to the DPR report, Mr. Ewuga said it is gathering proof against depot owners identified to be selling the products for as high as 97 naira per litre to marketers for further sanctions. Most fuel stations in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, including the NNPC mega station, have been shut down to motorists, some of whom went out as early as 5 a.m. to queue with the hope of buying the product. And the All Progressive Congress APC lawmakers and the Senate has voted against the immediate implementation of the payment of 5,000 naira stipend to unemployed Nigerians, a campaign promise made by APC during the last presidential election. The issue divided the lawmakers along party lines. Senator Philip Aduda, in his contribution to a motion on an urgent need to curb the soaring rate of unemployment in Nigeria, recommended that the federal government should fulfill its campaign promise of giving 5,000 naira to unemployed persons. And Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State has besieged the Court of Appeal in Abuja to challenge the judgment of the state's governorship election petition tribunal that nullified the outcome of the April 11 governorship poll that brought him to power. Wike is praying the court to set aside the verdict that was delivered against him by the Justice Ambrose Suleiman-led tribunal on October 24th on the premise that it was perverse and legally defective. Wike's lead counsel, Mr. Emmanuel Okala San, raised 26 grounds, saying the appeal court should consider in determining whether or not the verdict of the tribunal was anchored on the weight of evidence laid before it and sound interpretation of the Constitution and the Electoral Act. And interestingly, former National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki, who was granted his request for his passport to be released to enable him travel abroad for medical treatment by Justice Adeniyi Ademola of the Federal High Court, was stopped by security operatives at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja on Wednesday night. Dasuki was said to have returned to the airport this morning to make his trip, but was also prevented by the same security agents, who did not, however, give him any reason for their action. Although Dasuki is considering returning to the Federal High Court to seek redress against the Department of State Security Service, whose agents halted his movements abroad. And on the foreign scene, government officials of South Africa have announced that the nation is facing its worst drought since 1982, with more than 2.7 million households facing water shortages across the country. Spokesperson for the local government department in KwaZulu-Natal, Lennox Mabaso, told journalists that the drought concentrated in provinces of Free State and KwaZulu-Natal. was beginning to impact the livelihoods and also drain the economy. And the Mexican Supreme Court, on its way to legalize marijuana, has directed a small group to use recreational marijuana legally, opening the door to nationwide legalization and potential new fronts in a drug war whose violence has devastated the country. The decision allows 4 representatives of a group to plant, transport, and smoke marijuana for recreational use and declared unconstitutional 5 articles of the Health Act that banned the use and cultivation of the drug. Advocates of the marijuana plant argued before the courts that Mexico's current drug policy has been ineffective and regressive, and it also interferes with the private lives of individuals. And in sports, the FIFA Under-20 Women's World Cup African final qualifying match between Nigeria's Falconets and Basetsana of South Africa will now take place in South Africa on Sunday, November the 8th. The match, earlier slated for Saturday, has been moved at the instance of the South African Football Association, but the venue still remains the Makulong Stadium in Johannesburg. Also, in the world of rugby, Nigeria has dropped to the 75th position on World Rugby rankings after the Rugby World Cup held from September the 18th to October the 31st in England. It said that Japan, which climbed 3 places to occupy the 10th position, and Argentina, which moved from the 8th position to the 5th position, were the biggest climbers in the World Rugby rankings after grabbing the headlines at the World Cup. And that's the news for you on African Free Press Television. For more stories, please do visit our website www.africanfreepress.com. Follow us on Twitter at African Free Press, like our Facebook page at African Free Press, and subscribe to our YouTube channel at African Free Press. From me, Leo Oketa, and the whole team in the studio this evening, it's a very good evening to you. Please do enjoy the rest of your night.